Welcome to the OTA podcast where we discuss everything performance training. I'm Coach Chris Barnard. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the OTA podcast. I'm your host, Coach Chris Barnard. And for today's video, I got a question in our coaching group the other day from a young coach, and I thought it was a really good question. He emailed me and he essentially asked if he was starting from scratch, or if I was starting from scratch, in my coaching business. What were the plans or what were the steps of action that I would take to get to where I'm at today? And I thought this was a fascinating question. After I thought about it more and more, I figured, hey, let me go ahead and make a video about it, because I think that it could serve some of you coaches out there who are just starting off or wanting to really kind of take it to the next level, or interested in getting into performance coaching. So first and foremost, what I would do is, number one, I'm going to find a mentor. I'm going to find the coach that's already doing it at the level that I aspire to be to. Okay, so whether that be through social media, whether that be through, if I want to be a collegiate football strength and conditioning coach, whatever it is, I'm going to find that coach that I want to aspire to be to. And then what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to either try to, offer my time in some kind of exchange in value to support that mentor, or be an intern for that mentor, or if that person or if that coach has a course, or if I could pay them to essentially whatever it is for their time to learn. Because my biggest first objective is to be able to close that gap as fast as I possibly can. As I always say, you can't cheat time, right? But if somebody else has 10 years of experience and I can learn from that person, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna invest all that I can, whether that be time or money, into trying to extract that experience out of that coach, because now I can close that gap a lot faster. And you have to, as a coach, need to understand ROI, or return of investment. And it's like, when I was early on, I was spending my money on stupid stuff like, shoes and having the next workout gear, and, just dumb things that really didn't add to me. So there's a saying now that I have, it's like, two things I'll never go cheap on is food and my education, because those are the two things that become me. So it's like, I want to make sure that I can close that gap. So still to this day, and just to be full transparent, like, I've spent last year, I want to say, over $100,000 on coaching alone, whether that be business or from a training perspective. And I don't say that to like flaunt. I say that from a perspective of like, I always am constantly reinvesting, right, and trying to learn the next level of things. And you have to do that. But I know I'm always going to get a return of investment on that, even if it is looking back. So the biggest thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to close that gap and learn those concepts, learn those methods, learn those actual systems that those coaches are using to be able to deliver results to those high-level athletes. Next, step two, I need to go ahead and take those concepts and I need to see it through with some athletes. I need to actually apply. I need to use the tools that I was just given, all right, to be able to test them out for myself, right, to make sure they work. So my suggestion is you need to go through an entire off season. And I'm not talking about a couple sessions. There's a lot of coaches out there that just, I worked with an athlete for a session, and you're not getting results from a few sessions. You're not getting results really from a month. Like, you need to see a full off season through, like 3+ months, to really see some of the adaptation. Sure, you're gonna get some progress here and there, but nobody can tell you anything or take it away from you if you take a series of 5 to 10 athletes in a group and you take them from, point A to point B, right, and really overhaul their athleticism or their performance that translates over directly to their sport, where you have moms, or you have that athlete, or you have agents, or you have coaches coming up to you and saying, what did athlete XYZ do? Like, what are they doing? They're a completely different person. And it's more than just those performance metrics, right? What happens inside these four walls, it's being able to control their variables. It's being able to audible when they're not having the best day or they're stressed out. It's being able to make those changes when things happen, right? It's being able to work around the other things that they have going on external to the actual gym. There's a lot of psychology. There's a lot of other things. There's a lot of, from physiology perspective, from a recovery perspective, like getting them to check all those boxes, being able to work with an athlete and being able to guide them through an off season to get optimal and maximal results. It takes a lot more than just your X's and O's, your reps and your sets. So I always say it's important for you to have that. You need to get a couple under your belt. You need to know what it's like to go from the youth all the way up to the professional level. What's up, coaches? Real quickly, let me go ahead and introduce you to Performance Coach U certification. Now, this is the certification / course that I put together for coaches who want to train athletes and not only get results, but also maximize profits in the private sector. The problem that I saw with a lot of these courses and certifications out there for coaches was that they provided a lot of information and not a lot of application. So I wanted to pull back the covers over 10+ years of experience and show you the ins and outs of actually being in the trenches so that you get maximum results while also scaling your business. So if you're interested in this, go ahead and check out the link down below and you can get more information. The step 3 that goes hand in hand with step 2 is going to be you want to document that progress. So the biggest thing is like getting, from the base level of getting their performance metrics, let's say they come in at A and you get them to B, you want to be able to document those things. You want to be able to continue to write notes as you're doing them and making sure that you can always reflect back, because next off season, when you want to go into the next off season, I like to make sure that I document those things, see what I did, see what we focused on, where we placed emphasis, and then be able to make my adjustments. You don't want to be one of those coaches where one off season looks completely different than the other. And it's like you see it sometimes with coaches where it's like they completely abandon, they have some completely new different style of training 3 years in, and it's like the 3 years before you had great success and now you're completely switching it up. It's not to say that you don't progress as a coach and you don't evolve and learn new things. It's not what I'm saying. It's saying don't abandon the things that have always worked. Make sure that you continue to refine your process, but you're always wanting to trim the fat as opposed to always trying to add more on. So less is more when it comes to, after you get a couple of seasons of success, less becomes more, right? Don't go falling into the social media trap. So make sure that you're documenting that progress and make sure that you're taking notes so that you can consistently have that, right? It's just like a coach every off season. It's like I'm being able to reflect what we did, what we had success, what we had failures on, and then how do I make my adjustments for the next season or the next off season. Now, number 4, the next step that I would do, right? I have the information. I have a proven concept and I've documented it. And the next one is I'm going to headhunt the higher level athletes in my local area. I'm going to specifically go look for them and I'm going to try to provide my services as great value as I possibly can. I'm going to create a relationship. I'm going to follow them on Instagram. I'm going to do whatever I would do. I didn't have to do this, I'm fortunate enough, but I tell some of my coaches to do this. So I'm like, just get familiar, especially if like you're creating content and you're already putting it up and you're showing your progress, you're showing your systems, your methods of training, and then you go like find these athletes, you're putting them on your radar. And so now they know that you're there and they know that that service is available and they might be enticed, or you might ask them to directly come in. Whatever it is those athletes in your area, they should be familiar with your services. If you know that you have that elite level service, right, then it just becomes, hey, you're at this level. Now let's go ahead and put that together. Then obviously the steps repeat, right? Because now you have to continuously refine. Now that you've stepped up or you've leveled up, right? It took me like 6-7 years of coaching youth and high school athletes before I had my first really consistent groups. In fact, a lot of people know this story, but I actually took my first set of professional guys from the high school level, one in football, one in baseball, from literally 9th grade up into the professional level. And then once that was like this proven concept of years over years over years, then that's when I started getting classes of, yesterday I had 20 professional athletes in here. So it's like once you have it proven, then you could take it to them, and then from there you can continue to refine your process, deliver results through an off season, right? And then go ahead and continuously repeat. Now you reach out to more elite level athletes in your area. And I think that that system just completely repeats. But if I were to go from 0 to where I'm at right now, those are essentially all the steps that I would take. So I hope that helped you guys out. I'll talk to you guys next time.